Hi, how's it going? This is Resident of Collinwood, and I'm here to review one of my favorite westerns, if not my favorite of all time, Once Upon a Time in the West. Directed by Sergio Leone, composer Ennio Morricone. And this is not the first time these two have hooked up when this film was made in 1968. By the time this film was done, they have done many films together, Fistful of Dollars for a few dollars more, the good and the bad, the good, the bad, and the ugly, which many fans refer to as the Dollar Trilogy, or the Spaghetti Westerns, or the Man with No Name Trilogy. Those two were basically, in my opinion, they were the perfect one-two punch. And to me, Once Upon a Time in the West is, to me, one of their best collaborations going forward from the spaghetti western era. And I'm going to start very unusual here. I usually don't touch upon the scores. I'm going to touch upon this one. In my opinion, Once Upon a Time in the West is Ennio Morricone's best score. This score was different for its time because no Western had individual themes, and no movie prior to that had individual themes. The next really movie you would hear of having individual themes would be Halloween. Um, but Once Upon a Time in the West did have individual themes in '68. You had Franks, you had harmonicas. Frank, who was played by Henry Fonda, harmonica, who was played by Charles Bronson. You had Cheyenne, who was played by Jason Robards. You had Jill, who was played by Claudia Carnell. So you had four different characters, four different themes. And, some say Franks and harmonicas sound the same. Harmonicas is more not a dark tone, and Franks is a dark tone. I know that's not much, but still. So I would say this is the best scored of Ennio Morricone's. In my opinion, it's his best score. I love this score. Um, Now, this movie has a lot of history behind it. The first thing this movie did with it from a historical standpoint, no woman up until that time period had been given top billing in a Western, meaning no woman had starred in a Western. Not even Raquel Welch, and if you know who that is, great. Um, Claudia Carnell would be the first woman to receive that honor with this movie, Once Upon a Time in the West. So Claudia Carnell is the first woman to receive top billing, and she stars in this movie here. So, and she's worth it too. I mean, her sheer beauty and her talent. I mean, she is radiant when she comes on the screen. Um, her lines are really good. Her dialogue's good. Every character in this is amazing, and the actors are amazing. I mean, you go look at who's in this movie, it's a who's who, really, after Claudia Carnell. And Claudia Carnell, prior to this, would do the Pink Panther, the Professionals. So, with this movie here, this was her first, they were giving her the top billing. And that just was not heard of at the time in Westerns. It just wasn't done, but it was done there. This co-starred a well-known veteran actor in Henry Fonda. Henry Fonda was in 10 Westerns. He was in many, many films. And I'm going to touch upon the theme of this film too when I get back. I'm going to get back to Henry here in a moment. This also starred Jason Robards, who played Cheyenne. And Jason, once you see Robards probably has him, all four of these characters' entrance into this movie is amazing. I dare say it has the best set of character entrances ever in a Western, by far, in a movie ever. Um, how Cheyenne enters, how harmonica enters, how Frank enters, how Jill enters. they're all unique and they're all different. And that leads me to Charles Bronson, who played harmonica in this movie. And it's amazing because Charles Bronson, Sergio Leone actually wanted him and or Fonda for the Dollar trilogy, but they turned him down. Um, this time, Charles Bronson did accept. He did come to Italy, and that was the primary problem of why he turned the other roles down. He didn't want to come to Italy, but this, they convinced him. They finally got him, and it was well worth it. So really, you have four really, a talented actress and three talented actors on screen together. Now, the theme of this movie is very interesting. Most of the characters in this movie, Jack Elam and others, the side characters in this movie, the theme of this movie is most of the actors in this movie who are villains were most noted for playing good guys, especially Henry Fonda. This would be the first time Henry Fonda would portray a villain on screen, which is amazing. So when the camera, after the family is massacred in this movie, and the camera turns and you see Henry Fonda, your reaction is holy shit, because Fonda just was not known for playing bad guys at the time. He literally took his own squeaky clean image on screen and turned it on its very ear. And that's something that I still love of this movie today, because Henry Fonda is my favorite actor. Um, so this movie from start to finish is amazing. The start of the movie where the three men in the dusters are waiting on the train and they're waiting for someone to get off the train. As the train's leaving, you hear the harmonica music, and there's Charles Bronson's character. A shootout ensues. Boom, boom, boom. Um, the shootouts in the gunfights in this movie are pretty goddamn epic. Um, and just the gunplay in this movie is really well done too. Again, the McBain family is massacred by Frank, who's played by Fonda. Cheyenne's appearance in the bar is, like I said, it's epic. Jason Robards has some of the greatest lines in this movie. And I do not want to completely spoil this movie for you guys. It is an amazing, amazing movie. What would I give this movie? I would give it a straight 10. This movie is a perfect 10. Now, this movie is long. I will say um, close to, pretty close to 3 hours. It's not quite 3 hours, but it's like 2 hours and some odd minutes. But it is definitely a good movie. Um, so check out Once Upon a Time in the West. Um, I think I've covered everything that's in this movie. The um, yeah, pretty much I've covered everything that's in the movie. It's definitely worth a watch if you have never watched this movie. So like, share, comment, and subscribe.